Avenue line. Most know it as where the M goes after turning off from the Jamaica line, but it is, and certainly was, much more. It all started in 1888 when the Union Elevated Railroad Company opened the line along Myrtle Avenue from Johnson and Adams Streets to Grand Avenue, where there is a junction with the BMT Lexington Avenue line. It was leased to the Brooklyn Elevated Railroad, which operated trains along it that continued along Grand and Lexington Avenues to Broadway, then along that until East New York. Later in 1888, the line was extended to run above Adams and Sand Streets to a terminal at Washington Street, to later go across the Brooklyn Bridge, with a connection to the Fifth Avenue Elevated. In 1889, the line was extended further north to Broadway, whereas before service needed to go along Lexington Avenue to Broadway. In 1896, the southwest end of the line was extended north along Adams Street to a station at the intersection of Sand Street and High Street, with a connection to the Fulton Street Elevated. In 1898, the connection to the Brooklyn Bridge tracks opened along a private right-of-way. The line was extended sometime between 1899 and 1905, date unknown, north up to Wyckoff Avenue. In 1906, a ramp was built at Wyckoff Avenue to connect the Myrtle Avenue line to the Lutheran Cemetery line, a former steam dummy line that ran to Metropolitan Avenue that had opened in 1881. Those tracks were elevated in 1915 as part of the dual contracts. In 1914, the connection at Myrtle and Broadway to the Broadway-Brooklyn line was opened, allowing trains from the Williamsburg Bridge to operate up the part of the Myrtle Ave line north of Broadway. In 1924, the service using this route was named BMT 10, and the original Myrtle Ave line service from Metropolitan Ave to Park Row was named BMT 11. Later, BMT 10 became M, and BMT 11 became MJ. The dual contracts rebuilding of the Myrtle Ave line included adding a third track that went from a bit south of Central Ave, north to a switch south of Seneca Ave. The only switches to access it were at the Central Ave end, so the track's only use was for layups. It was removed by 1946 after never being used for revenue service. In 1944, with the end of Brooklyn Bridge service, Adams Street, Sand Street, and Park Row closed, so the line terminated at Bridge J Streets. The connection to the Fulton Street Elevated also closed during this time. In 1953, Grand Ave was torn down to complete the demolition of the BMT Lexington Avenue line, also closing the connection to that line. The entire rest of the line south of Broadway was closed in 1969 and demolished the following year, resulting in the MJ service being removed, with a temporary shuttle from Myrtle-Broadway to Metropolitan Ave. The MJ was replaced by a free transfer to B54 at Broadway and J Street, and B54 service was increased. In 2017, several sections of the line were rebuilt. These included the approaches to the Jamaica Line junction, which resulted in the M Shuttle service for a while, and the Fresh Pond Bridge, which took trains over the Long Island Railroad Montauk branch. These were done to prepare for the L project. There are still remnants of the southern portion of the line, so let's get out there and find them. Welcome to the former Bridge J Streets. You can see the B54 buses that replaced the MJ lining up to leave. There is now a promenade here, which was built as part of the Myrtle Avenue Revitalization Project to improve the neighborhood that was harmed by the former elevated. You can see that the promenade is right where the old Bridge J Street station used to be. I rode the B-54 all the way up to Broadway to check for remnants along the way. As the bus approached the Jamaica line, I could clearly see the old Myrtle Ave trestle. You can see just how thin the columns holding it up are, as this line was using the lightweight wooden trains until the very end of its operation. From the still standing Myrtle-Broadway station, you can see the old trestle as well as the MJ platform. You can also see the tracks connecting the Broadway Elevated to the Myrtle Ave Elevated, which are still used today by the M. There's even an old staircase going from the westbound platform up to the MJ platform. Here is a view of the old trestle and platform from the other side. For a different angle, I got on an M train and rode it on to the Myrtle Ave line. The train went around a very sharp curve and then underneath the MJ trestle. You can see the old trestle and platform very clearly from the rear Railfan window. The dual contract's third track is also visible. It's very obvious that the middle tract stopped at Myrtle-Wyckoff. Most of it was fenced off, with a few places to cross. You can see its end just south of Seneca Ave. Here is the other end of the third track and the old trestle from the other direction. And there's the old platform one more time.